Ladies, gentlemen, and adventurers of all ages, when it comes to Baldurs Gate 3, there is no end to the glorious times to be had. From the incredible story to the intense density of just general activities to take part in around the map, and a lot of those activities, in one way or another, will lead you directly to equipment of all kinds. And the type of equipment that tends to get people the most excited are the ones that you hold in your hands, the weapons. So today I thought it would be fun to just get on in and go over 10 of the current strongest weapons in all of Baldurs Gate 3 with the idea of, hey, if you're looking for something to work your next playthrough or even just build around and you care more about power than uniqueness, maybe you're doing a tactician run for the first time, something like that. These 10 weapons will be about the best that you can get. Of course, different classes interact with weapons in different ways, but in the least biased way possible, I believe these to be the 10 best for the reasons that I will dive into. With that said, we'll go on in chronological order, starting off with any that you can get in Act 1, and the first ones of note are a trio, the lightning charge weapons. You can only get one out of the three of them on any given playthrough, but you have a stabby stick that gives lightning charges on hit, a bow that gives lightning charges on hit, and a quarterstaff that gives lightning charges on cantrip or spell attack hit. That said, it's specifically what lightning charges do that makes them so nasty, which is that for every turn of lightning charge you have, you gain a +1 bonus to your attack rolls, and every attack that you make has a bonus 1 lightning damage per turn remaining. And when you reach 5 turns of the buff, you do a bonus 1d8 of lightning damage on hit. You can easily make entire builds around this concept, and the fact that you can do it with a melee weapon, with a ranged weapon, or with a quarterstaff that makes it work with spells makes the concept here extremely versatile. As far as how to get it, you get to choose one of the 3 lightning charge weapons as the reward for completing the quest that you find right at the entry to Walking's Rest, the inn in Act 1. Our second entry today is going to be Hamarhraft, the very difficult to pronounce hammer. What is really special about this one is that while it is responsible for pretty much just the most damage per turn physically possible in the entire game, none of it actually involves swinging the hammer itself, so much as it just becomes a thing because of the bonus effect on the weapon itself called Shockwave. When the wearer jumps, they deal 1d4 of thunder damage in a 3-meter radius upon landing. At first they may sound just a little bit unassuming, but consider the fact that that works with flying as well, which doesn't cost bonus actions, and then the fact that this technically counts as an attack when you land and triggers all kinds of other equipment effects as a result. And then you can see how this could get extremely out of hand ridiculously quickly. As for how to get this one, it is actually right beside our first entry, also Walking's Rest in Act 1, but this one is locked in a chest in one of the rooms that is on fire. Third up then, we have a fan favorite, Phalar Aluve, and you may be wondering why I'm showing the same combat clip here, and that's because Phalar Aluve is also involved in that insane jumping build, just as it is for a lot of powerful builds because the weapon is insanely good and a little bit bugged too. A cool feature of the weapon is that it is a longsword with finesse, which is unique to this thing alone, but the thing that this makes it just as powerful as it is the bonus weapon action that it gives you, Phalar Aluve Melody. This lets you, once per short rest, make the sword either sing or shriek in a radius around you for 5 turns. The effect says that it will disappear if the weapon is unequipped, but that doesn't actually happen, so you can stuff it in your bag after activating it and it still just actually functions, and that's the bug. As for why this effect is so potent in the first place, the debuff version of this effect, the Shriek, makes it so anytime an enemy takes damage in the radius of it, they take 1d4 of thunder damage as a bonus, and there are a lot of ways to make enemies take multiple instances of damage, all of which proc this effect, which makes it super strong. As for how to get it, Phalar Aluve is simply waiting in this exact spot down in the Underdark area of Act 1, stuck inside of a rock, so succeed at interacting with it and it will be yours easy peasy. Fourth today is going to be the Blood of Lathander, most people's first found legendary weapon. By the time that you reach proper endgame, this weapon won't hold up quite as well as some of the other contenders, but I thought it did deserve a spot on this list just because of how good it is for how early you can get it. It is still technically in Act 1 where this is, and it literally has a 6th level spell that you can use on it in Sunbeam, which is just ridiculously strong for that point in the game and will honestly get you through a hell of a lot, even though it's only 1 use per long rest. On top of that, it also gives you essentially a cheat death, which is just a nice bonus, and aside from that, it's just a really solid mace with +3 weapon enchantment that also has bonuses against undead. To get this one, travel to the Rosy Morn Monastery in Act 1. There's a puzzle that you'll start up on the 2nd floor that you can follow through with to get this relatively easily, or you can just straight up steal it and blow up the entire area in an act of spite. Your choice, really. Fifth, then we move on to Act 2, and this one is a little bit special, the Drakethroat Glaive. I don't know, you look at it and it just seems okay, right? Bonuses to Dragonborn Breath Weapon is alright, pretty specific, weapon enchantment +2 is okay, but then it has Draconic Elemental Weapon, and this is the neat part. This lets you give a weapon +1 to attack rolls, and also give it a bonus 1d4 of your choice of elemental damage until long rest, which may as well be permanent as you can repeatedly apply this. You would expect that for this weapon you would just want to use that on the weapon itself, but the reason this effect is so strong is that you can just throw the weapon that you actually want to be using on the floors that it counts as an object in the world, then put on the Drakethroat Glaive Glaive, use Draconic Elemental Weapon to target the weapon that you've thrown on the floor, and now you've just given a different weapon a sizable power spike. That is what makes the Drakethroat Glaive incredible. You would probably never really want to use it as your actual main weapon, but the fact that it can buff whatever you do want to use as your main weapon is crazy, just permanently. To get this for yourself, simply pick it up from the vendor right here, located inside of Moonrise Towers. 6th day, we're going to move on to Act 3 then, and right near the start you can pick up Nyrulna, which is just without a doubt ridiculously powerful. Plus 3 weapon enchantment to make it strong as a base, a bonus 1d6 of thunder damage on every hit, which is quite a lot, but then this also has a special effect where if you throw the weapon, it will immediately return to your hands, so you can throw it on repeat and use it as both your melee and ranged weapon as a result, but also, when thrown, it will do 3d4 of thunder damage in a 6-meter blast radius around its landing location, which give this weapon quite a bit of AoE damage as well. On top of that, you get immunity to falling damage just straight up, 3 meters of bonus move speed, which is great, and you get special weapon attacks for use once per short rest, 2 different ones. One of them is a charging attack with 12 meters of movement that does a whopping 68 thunder damage and has possibility of inflicting bleed too. The other one, doing 66 of thunder damage in a bit of an AoE, while also pushing anything hit 5 meters away from you. That is just such a long list of absolutely glowing positives that it's impossible not to call this weapon one of the strongest around. As for getting it, the circus in Rivington at the start of the act, there is a djinn running a wheel game. You can pickpocket the ring that he uses to cheat at the wheel game, and then you play the wheel game again, and you'll be sent off to the jungle because you won. How dare you? Right beside the portal that will bring you back is a locked chest, and inside of the chest is Nyrulna. 7th then we have the Deva Mace, and this one is just so simple but so obviously powerful. No bonus effects, no weapon enchantment, no special spells or anything. Hell, this is a gray item, but it is 1d6 of bludgeoning damage base with 4d8 of radiant damage on top of that. That is essentially like having a free Paladin smite on top of every swing of the weapon that you do for free, and that's before even considering that you could put a smite on top of that on the same weapon. You could even dual wield them with the right feat if you want to. There's not really much to talk about with this one, honestly. It just has massive numbers, and that makes it good for quite obvious reasons. As for how to get it, as of the recent patch, this only drops in one way, which is to go to the Stormshore Tabernacle location in the lower city, enter the basement, steal something from one of their chests, and then clear the curse that you are given for doing so. After you clear it, it will spawn in a Deva, and you can either disarm the Deva and steal its weapon there, or if you kill the Deva and then come back after taking a long rest, you will find a pouch on the floor that holds the weapon waiting to be picked up. 8th up is the Duelist Prerogative Legendary Rapier, and even a brief look shows you this has so many effects on it. 1d8 piercing with a bonus 1d4 of necrotic damage, plus 3 weapon enchantment, critical hits when rolling a 19 if you aren't using an offhand weapon, and also this gives you a bonus reaction per turn, which normally is just alright, but then you have Withering Cut, which lets you use a reaction to add necrotic damage every time you hit with the weapon. So having a second reaction is just having more damage. Stick this on a bard and every reaction is suddenly worth 6 bonus damage, so especially if you aren't planning on triggering attacks of opportunity, this is a very valuable use of your reaction. Then it also comes with Challenge to Duel, which is okay, but more importantly, Dueler's Enthusiasm. While you aren't dual wielding, you can make an additional attack with this weapon per turn as a bonus action, which is essentially like entering a barbarian rage, but without, being a barbarian. As for how to get it, that comes from the quest to save Vanra in Act 3, which is started in the Baldurs Gate barracks right near where you enter the lower city. 9th today is the Staff of Cherished Necromancy, which is strong, but for a bit of an unusual reason. The weapon damage is irrelevant as this is just for spellcasters, giving enemies disadvantage on saving throws against your necromancy spells is good, and then the big one, which is when you kill an enemy with any spell, you absorb their life essence until long rest, which lets you cast 1 necromancy spell for free of any spell level. The thing is, there's actually a bug with this right now, at least we assume it's a bug, because it's just way too strong, and that's because this effect doesn't have a limit, and you can essentially just chain level 6 necromancy spells back to back to back as long as you have enemies, which for obvious reasons is absolutely disgustingly strong. To get the weapon for yourself then, head to Filgrave's mansion in the lower city, and once you get in, you will have to kill someone who otherwise is a vendor, which is the Mystic Carrion, a mummy type fellow who just hangs around in the basement. Then our final weapon of the day is Markoheshkir, which I probably pronounced wrong, the legendary staff, plus 1 to spell save DC and spell attacks as well, which is great. The Arcane Battery feature, which lets you activate it to remove the spell slot cost of your next cast once per long rest, basically a bonus 6 level spell if you use it right, which does seem slightly anticlimactic compared to the last one, but not only are you not locked to using necromancy spells for this, but this one is also not a bug, but an intended feature. On top of that, it also has even more to give though with Koreska's Favor, which lets you once per short rest imbue yourself with a specific element, giving you resistance to that damage type, but also giving you bonus damage when you hit others with the damage type there equal to your proficiency bonus, and also giving you access to a couple of bonus spells depending on which one you choose. As for how to get the weapon then, start off at the Sorcerer Sundry's shop in the lower city, do the whole portal shenanigans to get yourself into Ramazith Tower, and then on the side of the room there is floating furniture that you can slowly jump down to reach the lower level. Around the room there are unmarked buttons. Use the spell See Invisibility to see the labels on each one, and find the one that says Below, because you already have See Invisibility active as well. Once you get down there, you will see that there are levers in front of the bubbles. Use the lever to get rid of the unpassable force field, pass the check to pick it up, and then you'll have the staff for yourself. And that just about does it for today then, everyone. A nice big collection of 10 of the best weapons in the entire game. Let me know what you think, of course, as well. I chose some that I think are the best for a variety of playstyles and classes. There will be some way more specific combos that result in some absolute nastiness too. So let me know if there are any weapons you think should have been on this list that aren't here, and maybe we'll do a follow-up to it in the future. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.